keynote speaker, alumni, School of Psychology. Where are you at? I'm not going to talk much about this gentleman. I'm going to let him. I've seen the slide deck. It's amazing. It's going to be very motivating. So I want you guys to give a big round of applause for our keynote speaker tonight, Jeffrey Smith.
Thank you very much. School of Psychology. There was only 3 people that graduated with me when I graduated in 1978. I want to thank you, James and Leslie, for inviting me here. You know, when I got the invitation, I was very hesitant because what could I talk about 45 years later to students who are going to school now? I couldn't think of 5 minutes to fill up, much less 30 minutes. So then I thought more about it. So, well, you know, I took a very unconventional turn when I left school. And as I think probably everyone's heard, you know, 1 out of 6 Georgia Tech graduates are millionaires or become millionaires. And I was able to accomplish that without actually going the conventional path in my career. So I thought I would share that. What you're looking at is a shot of me at the WWA Masters Wake Surfing Championships that were just held in the beginning of September down in Callaway Gardens. And it's something that I enjoy doing. I took up when I was 65. I'm 68 now, and I look forward to next year's championships as well. So let's jump into this. Let me go back. There we go. So a little bit about my life. This is a picture of my family. My beautiful wife of 48 years, Dot, is sitting back there. And yeah, we actually, she told me, do not talk about me. Of course, I was planning to all along. Born 1955, I know James's birthday's on the 29th. Been married for 48 years, been together for 52. We were high school sweethearts. I did graduate in 1978, applied psychology. But by that time of graduation, I already had a plan for what I planned to do because I didn't like the interviews that I had available to me. When I graduated, I kind of knew what the career paths were for applied psychologists at that point in time. And so I planned to go into marketing and advertising, and I went immediately 2 weeks later to Georgia State to get my MBA. So I was out of school for 2 weeks, finished that in 2 years, and got my first job. I ended up taking a position with Cox Cable in the cable TV industry as a general manager trainee. Nothing to do really directly with psychology, but of course, as we're gonna talk about this evening, there's a lot to do with psychology in every line of business. Spent 10 years in cable TV business around the country. Then I left there and went and helped to launch Primestar, which was the first direct broadcast satellite service in the United States, and eventually was sold to DirecTV. Spent 5 years there. Then I came back to Atlanta to help Bell South get into the video business. And I had a great career going with Bell South. But 5 years into it, I was done with corporate America. I couldn't take it any longer, quite frankly. And so I left at the beginning of 2000, you know, right at the height of the creation of the internet, right? 1999. 2 months after I left there, I ended up taking a job as CEO of a startup. 2 months after I left Bell South, the market crashed. Money was no longer available, certainly not to a startup in Atlanta, Georgia. So we ended up, you know, over the next 10 years, I spent time in venture-backed startups, my own startups, successes, had some failures too. And failures are important in your life. You know, you have to embrace them and learn from them and move on from them. In 2011, I was looking for something, my next sort of phase in my life, and I discovered online marketing. And that's what I've been doing since that time. I now do internet marketing, and I have an Amazon e-commerce business as well, and that's what I spend my time on, that are quite successful. I've got 2 daughters that you see up there, 2 grandkids that are running around, and 1 more on the way that's coming this month. And we're living the dream on Lake Lanier. So that's a little quick story of my life. Now, let's get into talking about things that will matter to you. Applied psychology. What we're going to be doing, you saw my title slide up there. It was designed to attract your attention, because I'm not going to be talking about, the traditional career opportunities. I saw all that they're doing for you, Georgia Tech's going to do for you to help you find the right next step in your career after you leave school. But tonight will be a live exercise in applied psychology, because I'm going to be trying to make you think. Okay, that's my objective, is to make you think. And I'm going to do that by making you think about what you're doing, where you're going, and how best to get there. Okay, because you've got a long life in front of you. And what they think is the traditional careers available to you in whatever school you're in, and we've got there's a lot of great careers there. There are alternatives to that. I'm here to tell you that there can be alternatives to that, and there's different ways to get where you want to go. The method to my madness is that I asked ChatGPT for some famous quotes for each of the subjects that I'd picked out. Each of the slides will have 1 or 2 words on it. And I can tell you that ChatGPT is not, it gave me the same quote or slight alternative attributed to different people. So be careful when you're out there using AI. But I'm going to give you my thoughts as well as some wisdom of the ages. So hopefully off of each slide you'll come away with something that you can use in your own life. First up, no man or woman is an island. We're all dependent on each other. Whether you've got people that are working for you or you're working for someone else, maybe you've got mentors, people that you run across, people that provide you goods and services, you can't do anything in life, really, without being dependent upon other people. So don't forget that. There's lots of people that will be part of your success in life. Since people are so important in our lives, people skills are important. A lot of times I see people, including myself, we're staring at our phones, right? There's people all around us, but we're all absorbed because we got this computer right there at our disposal. Take time to understand how people work, how they think, because you're going to be motivating them, you're going to be managing them, you're going to be working for them, you're going to be interacting with them. So people skills are extremely important in whatever field that you go into. I didn't realize this when I was your age, but I can tell you this is true. Youth is wasted on the young. What the meaning of that is that when we're young, we don't really understand we don't have all the experiences, we don't have all the understanding that you gather as you get older. And so with what I'm talking to you about tonight and things that you're going to maybe walk away and think about later, take time to understand what's going on in the world, what you're facing, and take time to talk with people like you've got great alumni that will be here this evening to understand what's coming in your life so that you can take advantage of it while you're young, because when youth's gone, it's gone. This is a quote by James Dean. I don't think he didn't live very long, right? But life is short. It may be physically short. None of us know how many years or how much time we have. But it can also be short in the sense that it happens very quickly. And the older you get, the faster time goes. Okay, so life is short, so take advantage of it and live it every day. You've all seen this definition of insanity. But in spite of the fact that we all have seen this and we understand it, I can tell you that I see people all the time that keep complaining about some issue, some problem they're trying to overcome. And they are trying to get past this problem and solve the problem, doing the same thing over and over. So be mindful of this, that if you are trying to tackle a problem, whether it's in school now or later on in your life, if something doesn't work, adapt to it, learn from it, and change what you're doing so that you can get past it. Think outside the box. James was talking about, he says that to people all the time. Don't just keep doing the same thing over and over. I can tell you a quick story. Don't try this at home. My first job back in 1980, when I went to the cable system out in Oklahoma City, I was supposed to be going through a general management training program. It was a book about this big. My general manager handed it to me. They're in the busy building a cable system. I was supposed to go to every different department and spend time there learning what they do. Everybody was busy. They didn't want to hear of that. They weren't paying attention. They wouldn't let me come in there. It was not working. So what I did was, it happened to be 1980, Omni magazine published the hardest IQ test in the world at that point in time. I wrote a letter on company letterhead. Again, don't try this at home. I signed it from the president of the company, Bob Wright, who went on later to become head of NBC, Universal. And I basically said, you've got 24 hours to complete this test. It's going to be used to evaluate you in your current job and your future with the company. And I put it on every department head's desk. And I sat back and watched what happened. Some of them stayed up all night. The sales manager brought all the sales team in. Instead of talking about selling cable TV, he had them trying to answer the questions. It caused quite an uproar, but it got my point across, that they needed to pay attention to me. And I went on to have a successful career there. But that's thinking outside the box. Okay, come up with your own version of that. You may have fears now. You have to face your fears, whatever your fears are. You know, fear is common, right? We're all human. But you have to face them and come up with a way to overcome them, because you're going to experience them throughout your life. Don't let them hold you back from whatever you're planning to do. While you're living your life, be yourself. Don't try to be somebody else. Don't try to be what people expect you to be. Just be yourself, because it's your life and this is your chance to live it and be happy as a result from it. Fortune favors the bold. It's very true. Okay, if you're going to control your life and achieve whatever it is you want to achieve in life, sometimes you have to take bold moves. Okay, and so this is a very important lesson for you to take away from tonight. Learn how to say no. You don't have to say yes to everything. I can tell you in venture capital, if some of you go off into venture capital world, starting your own companies, the venture capitalists, as soon as they hear a new idea, they're focused on, what do I not like about this? How do I say no to this? Because time is very important. It's very valuable. So they want to move past this idea and move on to the next one. So they're immediately looking for, why should I say no to this? Okay? So don't say yes to everything. Learn how to say no. You can have everything in life that you want if you just help enough other people get what they want. This applies to marketing. It applies to science. If you end up going into a science career, focus on helping other people get what they want. And ultimately, if you're getting paid for that in some fashion, whether it's your own company or you're working for somebody, helping people get what they want is going to come back to you in tenfold. Okay, so focus on this. It's a very true philosophy by Zig Ziglar. As you're moving through life, focus on one thing. Focus on what's most important for the next phase of whatever it is that you're planning to do. Don't get distracted. Don't try to do 50 things at once. Figure out what is the most important thing to focus on and focus on that. This is actually a very good book by Gary Keller called The One Thing. Take action. Whatever your plan is, make sure that you're taking action on executing that plan. Okay? Action is very important, but let me tell you this. Imperfect action is better than perfect action. Perfect is the enemy of good. If you focus on trying to look for the right time, the perfect time to do something, the perfect opportunity, you could be standing around your whole life waiting for that. It's better to take imperfect action and do it on a daily basis. It's almost more important to understand what you don't know than what you do know. Because you can make a lot of decisions and make a lot of wrong moves thinking that you know what the answer is when in fact you don't know it. So whatever it is you're doing, whether it's in your job or your career or just your life, focus on understanding what you don't know and then try to understand what you don't know. If you have a direction that you understand, a macro direction of what you're planning to do, pay attention to the details of the steps that you're focused on along the way. Then you'll achieve the macro. Okay? But you have to understand the details of each step that you're focused on in order to accomplish that plan. And this is what I realized 5 years into my career with Bell South, I decided I was tired of building other people's dreams, and I wanted to build my own. If you're not building and working on your own dream, then you're building somebody else's. And that's okay, because we need people to help us build our dreams. Okay? You can't accomplish it on your own. So it's okay to help someone else build their own dream, but understand what you're doing and make a conscious decision to do that. In the middle of every difficulty that you're going to face, there's opportunity. If you think about a lot of the developments of different technologies and products and services, a lot of them have occurred because people were having difficulty with something, and somebody saw an opportunity out of it. So look for the opportunities to grow, to make changes to your plan, maybe to take a different direction whenever you face a difficulty. I'm trying to cram as much of this as I can into the time that we have. Failure. You're going to have failures. I had some failures, right? Everybody's going to fail. You've probably heard fail fast. Failures are okay. Just learn from them and adapt from them and learn what to do differently the next time. Take care of your health. Start now. And none of us know how long we have. It doesn't get easier the older you get. You know, the term, the golden years, is a marketing term. I can assure you of that. Okay, it doesn't get easier the older you get. So, take care of yourself, right, so that you can enjoy the fruits of your labor throughout your life. Some of you probably heard this term, 9 to 5 scam. Working for somebody else, that's a scam. No, it's not. I mean, it's a marketing sales tactic to say that. because we need people, right? Even if you've got your own brilliant idea, you're going to create your own company to do it, you're going to need people to help you execute it. So it's not a scam, but like I said with dreams, if you're not building your own dream, you're building someone else's, just be cognizant of that. And if you have your own dream, you need to think about what you're going to do to make that come true. This is the eighth wonder of the world. I didn't come up with that. But compound interest. Start now on setting aside part of the money that you have or you're getting, particularly when you get your career, if you head down that path, save money, right? Because compound interest alone can make you a millionaire. Even if you never do what you think millionaires do in order to accomplish that task, you can accomplish it simply by saving money and allowing time to bring you where you want to go. Be adaptable. Okay? Life's going to throw you curveballs in all sorts of ways. So be adaptable, learn from your mistakes, make changes to what you're doing, try again. Be persistent. You need a plan. I know each of you must have a plan. You've signed up, you're paying money, you're attending class, right? You're here at Georgia Tech, good choice. But you need a plan for what you're doing, okay? Not only now, but once you leave, because part of your plan is going to be, well, which career path am I going to choose? Coming out of here, what job am I going to take? But you also need then to plan on how do you advance, if that's what you're looking to do, throughout your career. But because life does throw us changes, you better have a plan B, and maybe a C. Don't just assume that, okay, this is the plan, this is what's going to happen because I want it to happen. It may not happen. So what's plan B? A lot of you have seen, I know we're a lot of us involved in technology, right? A lot of people got jobs in technology, and the economy changed. A lot of people got laid off. Okay, what are they doing? If you're laid off and you're sitting around waiting to see if you can get another job, well, I can tell you there's a better plan B than that. Find joy in every day because you don't know how many days you've got. So you may face a lot of challenges on a daily basis. Things may go different than what you planned on. Life may throw you a curveball. But find joy in every day because every day is going to add up. And if you have experienced joy every day, you're going to be that much happier. Life is short. Some of these themes I've got on several of the slides, but there's different aspects to it. But happiness really is the goal that everybody should be focused on. That should be your overall goal, is to be happy in life. Okay, do things that make you happy. Pursue a plan that makes you happy. If something goes bad, you get some challenges, figure out how to make changes to it so that you can be happy. You are the captain of your fate. Not your parents, not your friends, not your spouse. You are the captain of it. So always be mindful of that fact. You're not a victim. You're in charge of your life. Other people zig. Sometimes you have to zag. Right? Sometimes you have to take a different path to find the right path for you. So don't just assume that everybody else is doing this, so that's what I need to do. Nope. Do what makes sense for what your life, where you want to go. Always have perspective about what you're going through. Okay? You've got to stand back and think about it. Starting with, I like to think about it, the universe. Right? We're all here right now, but on a ball hurtling through space in midst of billions of other bodies out there. So have perspective, brings perspective to everything that you're facing and what you're planning to do. Time is very important. We don't know how much time we have, but we all have a fixed amount of time, right? And time just keeps moving forward. So be mindful of the time and how you're spending your time, right? Because it adds up. You can't get a second, the last minute back. It's gone. So be mindful of the time that you're spending and how you're spending it. We're all human. It's good to be empathetic, particularly when you're talking about people skills. Be empathetic of other people and how they receive you, how they're going to think, what they're going to think about what you say or what you do. Because that's very important. Empathy is a very important aspect of people skills. Understand what your why is. And your why could change over time. I mean, your why is, why am I doing this? Why am I going to school? Why am I going to this college? Why am I pursuing this career? Once you're out, why am I at this company? Why am I at this job? Why am I starting a family or not starting a family? Think about and focus on your why, because it's what's going to sustain you when you have challenges trying to accomplish whatever you're trying to accomplish. You're going to take risk. Risks are okay. If you never take risk, you're not going to really probably accomplish whatever it is you're trying to accomplish in life. But take calculated risk as best you can. Remember, figure out what you know, figure out what you don't know. Try to fill that in. Life is very random. It will get even more random the older you get. Okay, so don't be dissatisfied and unhappy if it doesn't turn out exactly the way that you planned it, because it probably will not. You'll have to adapt to it. Make it count. Probably you've seen this before, right? Make it count. Make every moment count. Focus. Focus on your plan. Don't get distracted away from that. Remember the one thing. Life is a marathon. Okay, you've got to live it for a long time, hopefully. So remember that it's not a sprint. You don't have to get everything done immediately. You've got to sustain this, and particularly in terms of your health. Life's going to be long, so you need to maintain your health. What gets measured gets done. When you got your own companies, you got a job, make sure that you're measuring the critical elements of your plan, what you're planning to do. Be skeptical. Don't just assume everything's going to go okay. Okay, be skeptical. Healthy skepticism, right? Fill in the gaps on what your knowledge is. Love. Find love. I found my love in high school. Having your partner for life is a great thing. So if you haven't found your life partner, your soulmate yet, keep at it. Regret. I met with a friend recently. I think he's 58, right? He's 10 years younger than me, and he was kind of like, I don't know what to do. I'm bored with what I'm doing. I said, look, focus on your last breath. What it will be your biggest regret. That's what you should focus on. Making sure that doesn't come true. If you get into, you're not sure what to do, step away. Take time to step away in some form or fashion from whatever it is you're facing and think about it again. Don't just keep plowing ahead. We all face death. But make sure that you live every day before you get there. Right? Because you only get one shot at this. Don't sweat the small stuff. Don't sweat it. Focus on the big issues. Expect the unexpected. I thought this was pretty funny. You need to succeed in life, you need part confidence and part ignorance. And that's very true. Alumni are laughing, smiling at me. Very true, right? Find your passion and focus on that throughout your life. Execute your vision. Okay? Otherwise, it's a hallucination. Be optimistic in your life. You know, always anticipate that the glass is half empty, not half full. You know those kind of people. Stopped advancing for me. Well, we're close to the end. I guess we are at the end. Oh, it went ahead. Okay. Very good. This is very true. Things that don't kill us will make us stronger, right? Because you're going to learn from it. Prepare for opportunities that will come your way. They will come your way. Make sure you're prepared for them. Be patient, right? Don't get impatient. Just give up because you ran into some difficulty. Think about what you're doing. Be patient. Maintain that. We're all connected. I've got a room full of scientists. I don't have to talk about that. The Present. I don't know if I'm a Kenny Chesney fan. This is a great song. You know, The Present, because it is a present to be alive. Take advantage of that. This is something for those of you who may decide you think you're going to go after, you know, creating your own company. It's very important to bet on the jockey rather than the horse. Who's going to actually implement and execute an idea versus the idea itself? Because ideas can change. They may or may not work. So whenever you go to work somewhere, if that's what you end up doing, focus on the people that you're working for, because that's what's most important, because the business itself will change over time. There we go. Remember, don't look at the world half empty. Be persistent in pursuing your goals. We're lucky to be alive. Don't blink, because time is short, remember? This is another Kenny Chesney song. AI, extremely important. Make sure that you understand how it's going to impact you in the career that you're choosing, because it is going to change drastically. As you grow, as you go forward in life, you want to have multiple streams of income. Don't rely on just one. Don't be dependent on just your paycheck. Okay, find other ways to make money. Affiliate marketing, one of the things that I do, right? So I brought this up, is a great way to make multiple streams of income. I'm a digital creator. That's why I've got people filming this tonight. Right? That's part of my career that I'm doing. These are my companies in e-commerce and internet marketing, my brands on Amazon. This is where we live, on the lake, just to show you I'm real. And if you don't know what wave surfing is, I'm not really sure how to play that. Surf ATL, I don't know if you've ever been wave surfing. It's a wonderful sport. Surf ATL is here in Atlanta. You can actually join them, it's free. They go out during the summer. They just ended their season. But they go on surfing trips around the country, around the world actually. And they also do surfing every other weekend on Sundays from like June through September. So if you're interested in wave surfing, there's a little commercial for them. Go out and try it. You don't need a board, you don't need a life jacket, you don't need anything, except you just have to show up. This, if you're interested in affiliate marketing, that's a place to go to take a look at it. And I highly recommend. I'm normally the oldest surfer out there with the longest hair. That's my claim to fame. So thank you very much.
Again, in loud, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We're going to ask you if you're going to stay a little bit longer to participate in the speed networking piece
Sure.
of it. And so there'll be some opportunity for you all to ask some questions at that particular time the table is going to be at. But we're getting ready to get into the next portion. Cool? We're down with that? All right, thank you. Give me another big round of applause. We'll get those slides distributed because there's going to be something that probably stuck with. I saw some of you all taking pictures, taking notes. This is really good quotes, all compiled together. Things that you guys can post up on your dorm door or wherever, your mirror, to keep you focused, to keep you engaged, to keep you on your game. Because this is very, very valuable stuff from people who have lived a long time before we have, who've experienced life in a number of different ways, and they've given back to us in these ways. So thank you so much for compiling those important ones to you and making them